Wild time to be alive. Blake Lively gets her donut shop investigated after she didn't wear her hair back while doing a PR event. This isn't good. I mean, first of all, this is ridiculous, but leave it to the internet. If they can find something to come after you for and they don't like you, the internet does what the internet does. I'm Dave Neal, folks, and host of the Rush Hour podcast, and we've got a lot to get into today. I've already shared Justin Baldoni's response to Blake Lively in the Morning Rush Hour podcast. I'll be going live after this, where I've got my full reading of that court case. I mean, it's unbelievable. So much content out there right now. Well, Blake Lively, again, is under the microscope when it comes to, she's, of course, been accused of conspiring to steal It Ends With Us, the movie from Justin Baldoni. She claims he harassed her. It's all under investigation, and so is a donut shop now. Blake Lively might want to look over the food handler's license test because her free-flowing locks have put a Connecticut donut shop she helped out under a microscope. Here's the deal. Earlier this week, Lively helped out a friend who owns a small donut shop in Wilton, Connecticut, working a mixer, putting out the sweet treats for customers, and just generally doing down-to-earth, everyday kind of work. I mean, there she is. She's hovering right over the cinnamon donuts. Are cinnamon donuts the best donuts? Now, I know you can get the ones that are glazed with all the sprinkles and whatnot, but I'm going cinnamon, straight glazed, chocolate glazed, or here's a wild card for you, blueberry. I've never had a blueberry donut I didn't like. Plus, I'm from New England. I'll do a Boston cream, kid. I don't care. Okay, some people online have a bone to pick with Blake, and they're pissed she didn't put a hairnet or a hat on to tie it back while working and serving up the treats. Writing on social media about it, even calling the local health department. A spokesperson for the Wilton Health Department tells TMZ they have received complaints about Blake working without a hairnet on, and it's under investigation. Unclear what kind of sanctions, if any, the shop could face if the investigation finds them in the wrong, but clearly some people are upset enough with Blake to legitimately reach out. Again, there's a lot of folks out there. I personally wouldn't do this, but I'm not going to... if my mom did this, I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing with your time? But I'm not going to judge people. Do whatever you want. You might say, well, I once had an uncle who got hair in the food and it messed me up. I don't know. So maybe this triggered somebody. So here they've got the post. In Connecticut, food safety hair covering rules are aligned with the FDA food code, which mandates that food employees with direct contact with food must wear hair restraints to prevent contamination. Well, but what if they've got Blake Brown hair products on? Isn't that enough? These basic food safety standards are not followed. Recent pictures and videos show no one in this establishment following protocol. Health inspector has been notified. And by the way, there's nothing worse for a restaurant to go from an A rating down to a B or C rating. I, first of all, think that the whole rating system is messed up. Personally, when I go out for food, I like a good B or C rating. I don't know, there's just something dirty about it, An A rating means it's like the floors might be clean, but is the food even seasoned, right? Give me a B-rated donut place, and I bet you they make the hell out of a donut. But either way, do what you want to do. We understand why they got food safety. So worth noting, the shop's Yelp page has been temporarily disabled because commenters flooded it with negative reviews after Blake made her cameo appearance there. Now, first of all, I hate this. I hate when people leave reviews if they were not personally affected by that person's food. This is someone's small business. I, of course, received a slew of negative reviews over a strong opinion I have about the wars that are going on in the world. I stand by my opinions. And, people conflated my things, and they actually knocked me down from a 4.6 out of 5 down to a 4.5 out of 5, which is terrible. But luckily, the good folks out there came back and gave the Rush Hour podcast a bunch of 5-star reviews and knocked us back up. But the point is, it shouldn't be this way, but it is that you rely on the algorithm. You rely on enough thumbs up, enough 5-star reviews to make your business thrive. So again, I like that Yelp and other companies will go through their reviews and make sure they're legitimate. Like, no offense, but if you're Crystal in Dallas and you can't prove receipt that you were there on April 2nd to give a 1-star review, I don't think they've earned it. Now you might say, yeah, but I saw in the video that they did this. Well, for all we know, they closed the set down and they weren't actually serving these donuts, or they were giving them away. I have no idea. The point I'm trying to make is it's not in defense of Blake. It's just like, okay, folks, let's pump the brakes. So the page is disabled. disabled, before the comments were disabled, a few users did actually post about Blake's lack of a hairnet. So again, people jumped on the lack of a hairnet. A source close to Blake says the so-called complaints are from people who have never been there, who don't even live in Connecticut. Targeting a lovely, small, family-owned business is a new low in the retaliation campaign. By the way, just because people will call a retaliatory campaign, complain on Yelp or the FDA or wherever, it doesn't mean that Justin Baldoni had a retaliatory campaign against Blake Lively, right? This is what they're going to try to do, is to use this as examples of these crazy fan bases. They'll do anything. And it's like, well, Justin Baldoni doesn't speak on behalf of the fans. But I would argue, I wouldn't want anyone defending me to do something like this because it only makes you look kind of petty. But again, no, I'm not saying that, I do understand that hair safety is good for food. I do understand that. I'm just saying, if you called it in from your Austin, Texas couch, then, I don't know. I mean, congratulations for doing the Lord's work, I guess. I don't know. Blake's haters called her a hypocrite this week for a resurfaced interview. Okay, so they get into other stuff. Let's go to our favorite crisis PR person, Reputation 911. Here's what he has to say.
Hey, everybody. Sometimes you've got to fire somebody. And if you're Blake Lively, that's got to be on your mind right now. Blake Lively, about a week ago at this point, went to a donut shop owned by her friend, made some donuts, took photos of that. Some people who were there, customers, took photos of her making donuts. And it seemed fairly innocent, seemed totally innocuous. And the end result, somehow, is that the internet hates her. That is a problem. That showcases that she's in a deep, really deep reputational hole where something so innocuous could be distorted in a way that's so damaging to her reputationally. So at this point, if you're Blake Lively, you have to start squinting at the people around you, either marketing, comms, PR, whatever, and you have to pick somebody. They have got to go. She has to fire somebody. She has to show to the fans that she's hearing them, listening, and she has to do something. Hey, everybody.
This is very interesting. I wouldn't have had this take, but then again, I'm not a crisis PR person. So this idea that you have to fire someone to save face, would that backfire from Blake? I mean, because one of the accusations about Blake is that she gets people fired off of sets. So now if you get people fired off of sets and then you do this donut thing, then you got to fire someone again. Now, sources say that Blake Lively didn't even run this PR event by her people. She was just showing up to a friend's place to help out. I got to say, regardless of this whole Blake Lively thing, I wish I was famous enough that I could go help a friend sling donuts, but not so famous that haters would call my friend and get their company, investigated by the FDA or whatever. So, hey, them's the ropes. That's what you get. No good deed goes unpunished. And like Chris, was saying, I think folks have said, it's the actual donut making wasn't necessarily bad PR. It's just with the internet, if you're going to do something like that, there's going to be a percentage of people that no matter what you do, you could be, coming up with a cure for cancer, and they're going to be like, oh, sure, but she only did it because. So there will be a small segment of people that are going to hate her no matter what. I think most people that are reasonable still don't like her because none of this has anything to do with the fact that did you try to wreck this guy's career or not, and then 80% of her followers might not even know about this whole scandal, to be quite honest. I think maybe more people do know. But the whole point being is there is a path for most people to salvage their career. But if you're going to do the PR, make sure you know the FDA rules. I think that's a good way to put it. Is it FDA? Am I getting it right? Food safety? What do they say? Yeah, FDA food code, hair restraint. You got to put something on if you got the whole thing. You never. But then again, guys with beards, you never see them wearing the beard thing. So I don't know. Is this one of the more important rules? I don't know. I don't want to find hair in my food. Actually, recently, I will share something that was disgusting. I was eating food recently, and we were with friends and family, and I didn't want to make a scene. You ever find something in your, hair in your food, and you have to make a whole scene? I didn't want to make a scene, so I just kind of pulled it out. It was a real long one. It wasn't mine. It was kind of baked into the food. I don't know about you guys. I'm not the type that complains. I don't. And again, you should. That's just how I was raised. I'm a guilty Catholic boy who, you can put a Band-Aid in my food, and I would probably be apologizing to the chef. I'm so sorry your Band-Aid fell off into my chicken cacciatore. Please forgive me. Like I wish it wasn't that way. Push over Dave. Okay, coming up next, we're gonna have a live stream reading the Justin Baldoni court docs. We got a ton of content all day long, so stick around for that. We'll be right back.